From the cocoa beans to the bar of chocolate that you find for sale in the supermarket, there is a long production process. Every single phase of this long journey is essential to guarantee a quality product with a unique and inimitable flavor. Let's go and see it in detail. About 70% of the world's cocoa beans come from 4 West African countries: Ivory Coast, the largest producer, Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon. Following are Indonesia and South American countries, such as Brazil, Ecuador, Mexico, and Peru. The cocoa plant is Theobroma cacao, which literally means food of the gods. It is an evergreen tree with an average height of 5-10 meters, and its cultivation dates back to 1000 BC by the Maya and Aztec civilizations. It needs shade and is typically grown alongside other trees, such as the banana tree, which helps shelter the cocoa tree from direct light. Its fruits are called kabos, have the shape of a rugby ball, and grow directly on the trunk and on the largest branches of the tree. Each pod contains from 25 to 40 seeds, called cocoa beans, which are immersed in an abundant sugary pulp with a gelatinous consistency. Each cocoa tree produces 25 to 40 pods, thus providing 1 to 2 kilograms of cocoa beans. Harvesting. The kabos are harvested by hand a couple of times a year, choosing those that are fully ripe. The pods are then opened with a machete across the width, immediately or a few days after harvesting. This is a very delicate phase, where you have to proceed with caution, so as not to damage the seeds inside. Fermentation. The pulp and seeds are fermented together for about a week in special wooden crates or under banana leaves away from light. Fermentation is a chemical process due to the action of bacterial enzymes during which they inactivate the sprouting capacity of the seed and cause the softening of the pulp adhering to the seed. The seeds now contain 40-50% moisture, which must be reduced to 6-8%. Drying. To block the fermentation process and reduce the moisture content that would favor the development of molds, the seeds are dried in the sun, spread on long wooden trays, and turned periodically for a period ranging from 7 to 15 days. Alternatively, artificial drying systems can be used, which shorten the times but have higher costs. At this point, the dried cocoa beans are collected in bags and stored until they are shipped. As soon as they arrive in the company, the cocoa beans are cleaned and checked. Any broken ones and foreign bodies, such as pebbles, leaves, and soil, are removed. Roasting. The seeds are roasted in special ovens through a process called roasting. This is a very delicate and important processing phase, which requires great experience in identifying the optimal cooking point. Cooking temperature and duration are very variable and depend on the origin of the type of cocoa beans and the product to be obtained. Roasting lasts from half an hour to a maximum of 2 hours at a temperature that typically varies between 110 degrees Celsius and 130 degrees Celsius. Thanks to the roasting of the cocoa beans, the precursors of the typical cocoa aromas develop. It also lowers the humidity, eliminates the acid component, kills the microorganisms that survived the previous treatments, and makes the cocoa bean peel more friable in order to facilitate it after decortication. Decortication. The roasted cocoa beans are then inserted into the cocoa breaker that separates the core of the seed, the cotyledon, from the outer skin. In this way, what is called cocoa nibs is obtained. Grinding. The grain of toasted beans is reduced by means of millstones into a coarse paste, known as cocoa paste, thus passing from the solid state to the liquid state. It is ground through hot cylinders, which melt the fat part of the cocoa bean with the heat generated by the pressure. Continuing the processing of the cocoa mass, this paste is inserted into large hydraulic presses in order to separate the fat part, cocoa butter, and the dry part, the cocoa cake. The cocoa cake is subsequently reduced to powder, thus obtaining the cocoa powder, which still contains 20% fat. By further degreasing it, you get lean cocoa powder, which is only 10-12% fat. At this stage, we need to decide what type of chocolate we want to obtain, dark, white, or milk. Based on the answer, the ingredients to add to the cocoa mass change. Refining. The dough is crushed again to reduce the size of the granules, which will eventually become very small. Conching. In this phase, the mixture of ingredients is placed inside a basin and kept in constant motion at a temperature of around 50 degrees centigrade. The dough will take on a smooth and homogeneous consistency, breaking the lumps until they are unnoticeable by the tongue. It also serves to amalgamate the various components, eliminate the acid aromas that remained in the chocolate, and eliminate residual moisture. Temperage. It consists in subjecting the chocolate to rapid changes in temperature. The tempering machine first raises the temperature of the liquid chocolate, and then lowers it up to 28 degrees centigrade, and then brings it back up to 32 degrees. These changes in temperature are intended to crystallize the cocoa butter into a compact form, creating a smooth, homogeneous, and shiny surface. A product must be obtained that does not break too easily, but that melts in the mouth. Modeling. It is the final phase of the manufacturing process, where the semi-liquid chocolate is poured into special molds, depending on the shape to be obtained, a tablet, a praline, or an A. It is then solidified by passing it through large cooling tunnels. Finally, it is removed from the molds and packaged. Thus ends the long and tiring journey of the cocoa bean, which has become a delicious bar of chocolate.